It's looking terrible, but what can I do? You know, we just gotta go live for the best.
grab your nearest beanie, mate.
um, sweet. Yes, guys, we're live, but we're gonna wait for a few more people to just hop on before we kind of get started on the chat.
Damn, game week 5. Jesus.
It's going like it's actually going thick and fast. It's like it's 5 weeks in. It's like, and plus we've already had an international break, you know. So and I swear down there's another one like 2 weeks time, right?
Yeah, it's the international break thing. I'm not gonna lie. I know we talked about it very briefly. Really,
I mean that's weird. Like
it became a bit of a meme, didn't it, with Pedri? Like justice for Pedri. Like how many he played every game available to him, and then just wouldn't stop. And then he came back early for preseason because he just wants to prove himself. And it's like, oh no, come on, bro.
So Spain made the last 4 of the Euros, and then they made the final of the Olympics. Yeah,
believe so. Yeah. Are we live now?
Yes, unfortunately, we are.
Because I'm. Oh yeah, there we are. Cool. I got us.
Cool. Just give it a little bit more time. Again, I want to bring up 1 or 2 things right now, but I just want to wait for people to kind of.
I know you leave the juicy stuff for when people are in.
You know, before we get started, I'm just kind of going through what Jack Erling Haller. Let's just a quick little dose on him, like.
I'm getting ready to call him better than Mbappe. I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm definitely getting there because the thing is, I look at the stuff that Mbappe is great at, and then my question is like, how much worse is Erling Haaland at that stuff? Because Erling Haaland is quick. Like we can talk about.
No, Mbappe quick is different, Jack.
Yeah, I know. Well, Mbappe's probably quicker over a shorter distance, but if it was 100 meters, I'm telling you, it'd be close. Do you not think?
Mbappe would rinse him, and it won't even be like it would be a good if it was like a prop. I think Mbappe would win by a full second, maybe second and a half.
Really? Oh, dude, I think Haaland can move.
Haaland can move, but Jack Mbappe is like he is to me like sprint. He would match when it comes to speed. I'm looking at him in the category of a Adama Traore, Carl Walker type. You know,
yeah.
Like Haaland's quick. Don't get it twisted. Like there was one of him on the counter. And he just went for about 80 meters.
That's what I'm saying. Over like 10 or 15 years. I mean, he's 6'4", James. Like, let's not, forget the size of the man. But I think over those 10, 15 meters, obviously you're giving it to Mbappe, but over longer distances, and running with the ball too, Haaland is like crazy fast. What's up, Sammy?
It's good to have you in the building. Jack, do you want to get started? Should we kind of?
Yeah, man. Let's get into it. Yeah.
Quickly, tell me about Real Madrid against Valencia. What a comeback! Vinicius, what's it? 5 goals this season. Big Ben's, 5 games, 6 goals. I mean, you
like
guys
a fine
are
wine.
Cruising right now. Benzema's playing just incredible football. But let's talk about more of a least eventful game, but we'll get into the other ones as time goes on. But let's talk about Man City versus Southampton and how that game panned out. Yes, the game finished 0-0. Man City probably could have won it at the end, but usually after a 0-0, you would think a team is dogged and they just find a way to stop Man City from playing. But Jack, Southampton probably could have got something out of the game, and there was a few contentious decisions there that we can get on to the Kyle Walker thing in a minute, and I'll be interested to see your opinion on that.
Yeah.
But overall, look at that game. How did you feel about that?
Well, I think that Pep doesn't call out the fans and ask for their support because he thinks it's funny. Yeah, but he doesn't do that because he thinks it's funny and he just wants a reaction and the papers to go on. He's done that for a reason. He would have been worried to go up against the Saints team. If one person knows matchup football better than anybody, it's Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola understands the tactical intricacies to give yourself an edge. And Southampton, in kind of a B-Tech Liverpool, let's call it, in that kind of way, they know that the dangers that they're gonna provide. I think the City team are distracted. I think that, the lack of a number 9 has been a talking point for a long time now as well. And yeah, I think the lack of fans, and that is just a general, a general topic. It was a distraction for the team, and Southampton made the most of it. Yeah, okay, Southampton could have snuck a cheeky win. I don't think Southampton, quote unquote, deserved to win. But I think that again, this is not the kind of form of champions we're looking at here. And Pep talked about in midweek. Pep talked about in midweek, he's going to have to play kids for the midweek game. I think it's against Watford, right? And again, I made this point recently. There's a couple of areas of the pitch where you think Pep Guardiola and Man City have really good squad depth. But there are some other areas, James, where that is just not the case. And there's a real steep drop-off from some of the starters to some of the other positions. I look at the midfield three at points, and I know that Pep plays a very sophisticated system. But after, let's say Rodri, De Bruyne, and Gundogan, okay, Fernandinho, but then who are your other guys filling in those positions there? And there are just certain areas of the pitch where they just lack a little bit of depth for me. So kudos to Southampton. I think Southampton needed it, but yeah, too many distractions for City.
I agree with you. I do feel like, I think Pep's comments from what he felt that, okay, he's trying to rally up the fans, but the fans, first of all, just look at it to the point of view of Man City fans get bantered a lot. And for their manager to come out and say that, it's a bit of a disgrace to them in a way, and it puts them in the bubble of, are they in a big club situation? But looking on the performance,
what's up, George? By the way, what's up,
George? Welcome to the chat. Appreciate that. Give us your opinions on a Man City game. Put the comments down. But looking on the game, you talked about positions. Has Man City really improved from last season, Jack? I look at it, and let's be honest, Man City will blow out teams. It's Man City. Guardiola and his team, they figured out the league. They know what it is. When they get teams on the ropes, they're gonna destroy them. But I look at their competition, and I look at Man City, and I think that they've gone a lot better. Have you gone a lot better? And that's my biggest problem with them at this moment of time. Because Man City, they're going to get their ones. They're going to get their chances here and there to put teams to the sword. But you look at a striker situation now. Today was a little bit of a problem. The fact that they didn't have that vocal point at times, and you look at who are they going to play? Is it going to be Ferran Torres one day? Is it going to be Jesus? You might see Gundogan pop up there. Yes, it's a good thing to have at times, but I would rather know that I have an out-and-out striker. And it's just really, really odd for this Man City team. It's going to be a roller coaster ride this season. And them comments from Guardiola didn't help.
No, but I give Guardiola a lot of credit for having the balls, let's be honest, to be able to call out a fan base. Only a manager who has high self-esteem and confidence in his job and he has the protection that he needs is able to call out an entire fan base. And yeah, all banter and jokes aside, the one fan base that really needs calling out is the Man City fan base. Not filling up a stadium when you play football of that higher quality with the high caliber of football players you have. I mean, James, if AS Roma or Arsenal had Kevin De Bruyne, I think you and I would both be season ticket holders, wouldn't we? So I'm just, it's a privilege to watch them play. It's not my style of football. I am a Jurgen Klopp style, metal, heavy metal football. I appreciate the possession-based style that Pep does implement, and at its best, it's a thing of beauty. But I think, Pep has brought something quite unique and quite beautiful to Manchester City, and yeah, the fans should be there supporting him, absolutely. And that all their attempts at making or creating a new fan base, maybe it seems clear at this point that maybe they've not gone very well.
I think Man City should be concentrated on the younger ones, but Sammy still has them as the favourites.
Hey, Sammy, I'm not mad. James, I don't know about you. I'm not mad at that, Sammy, at all. I still think there are 4 teams that can win this title. I think, at one point I thought it was 5, but I think I'm getting to a stage where, with everybody else, it's the 4 teams. I'm not ruling them out, but again, we've talked about the issues, the depth in certain positions, and the number 9. It sticks out like sore thumb. Just quickly, James, they could have signed a player that their scouting department thought was kind of good from a weird league. Right. Yeah. And they would have had probably loads and loads of success. That's the kind of thing I'm surprised they didn't do. They didn't bring in a guy from Brazil a guy from the Ukrainian league, or just like some weird little signing for like 15 to 20 mil to just bolster that position. That's what I'm surprised they didn't do.
So George has him finishing fourth, and I feel with this Man City team, if you tell me that rather you see them finishing in first or fourth, I wouldn't argue. I really, really wouldn't argue, because it's a weird one this year for Man City. The result that we've seen against Southampton, we're going to see a lot of them happening this season. You know, don't be surprised, because even like the Raheem Sterling situation, Man City at times, I won't say lack goals, but who's their most potent striker? They don't really have one, but who's going to get them goals like that? Yeah, Gundogan got 17 last year. When you look at the rest of them, they're not really out and out goal scorers. The person who's been a goal threat for Man City and's got goals for Man City throughout the years has been Raheem Sterling. And the problem is that I'm not sure where he fits in this Man City team when I look at it, because I feel Pep is more safe playing Phil Foden in there, your Grealish in there, because those are the players he likes, and maybe Mahrez out wide, but Sterling, where does he fit in this Man City team? And to me, that's also a question that needs to be answered.
Well, and James, it's unfair to Raheem Sterling. Let's not get it wrong. I mean, you know, just because Raheem Sterling has a skill set and a trait that is better than his contemporaries does not then mean that you pile all the pressure on him to be the top goal scorer. I think a fair goal haul or target for somebody like Raheem Sterling is, right around the 10 to 15 mark per year. Same with assists. I think you want in and around that mark, but it shouldn't be his job. It's the same way. Just if you're fantastic at something, well, hey, that's absolutely fine. But realistically, if that's not your job, then there are other areas of the team and the football team as a whole, whether it be recruitment, the manager, who are letting you down. We shouldn't be potentially criticizing Raheem Sterling because he's good at something that's not then him doing his job. And then if he then gets played out of position and doesn't do a good job, he's being played out of position. That's not up to him. That's not a choice he makes, So I think that Man City have a lot to do. And James, they dropped the ball. They really did. I have them, George. I have them finishing fourth as well, mate. I have them finishing fourth as well because of reasons we've mentioned a couple of times here already.
I mean, it's going to be an interesting one with Man City, but we all know when Man City are traditionally slow starters in like last year and even this year, but when Man City also get on a roll, you know what they're like, and Guardiola seems to somehow figure it out some way throughout the season. But let's move on to the team that seems to be like their closest rivals in the past 3-4 seasons. That's Liverpool. And Liverpool, some people have just ruled them out in a way when it comes to this title challenge. But Man City, I mean, Liverpool are doing Liverpool things again. They play Crystal Palace on the weekend, back at Anfield, and they do what they do best when Virgil van Dijk is fit in there. And Liverpool win 3-0. Yes, to be fair, looking at the game, it wasn't a 3-0 game. Liverpool did score from all three set pieces in that situation. And Crystal Palace had some phenomenal, like Edouard missed one or two one-on-one opportunities where I'm thinking, how do you miss that? You've got
to put that in, dude. Right.
Seriously, after the 2 goals against Tottenham, you're thinking, listen, take your opportunities right now. You're well in this game. They didn't. Liverpool take their opportunities, and we're going to talk about another team, but you really, really have to be aware of the of the Liverpool team. But Jack, tell me how you felt about Liverpool and the game against Crystal Palace.
Look, I agree with you. I think 3-0 was kind of flattering, but I think that especially at home, Liverpool are 3-0 better than Palace, and that's what happened. I'm not going to sit here and laud how fantastic Liverpool were or how bad Palace were. I think that within the kind of, context of the situation at which, the environment in which Palace find themselves now, a 3-0 loss away from home at Anfield, you shouldn't be super upset and refunding the fans and saying, oh, we're so sorry. This is Liverpool football team. You're Crystal Palace. It's a new manager. It's basically a completely new team. This is the kind of result I think you'd expect. And if you're Liverpool, don't gas yourselves up too much. You won at home against Crystal Palace, who, like I said, for the reasons I just mentioned, are not going to be your toughest opponent. So yeah, a pretty routine win. Nice to see. I don't know if you saw these statistics. I think it's like the first game ever in the Premier League where it was a 3-0 and it was 3 different African goal scorers. I thought that was kind of cool. Kind of a nice little nugget of info. Nice to see Naby Keita get a goal as well. I know he's not hit the ground running from when he first signed as much as he'd like to, but yeah, kind of routine, kind of boring in that respect as well. The better team beat the slightly worse team, so not a lot to say on that.
Did you see Sammy mentioned it here? The Crystal Palace penalty that maybe should have been a penalty. I think it was a tangling at the back post, and I think Liverpool went up the other end and ended up scoring. What did you think? Did you feel like it was a penalty?
I think we're in a really tricky. We probably should have talked about the Kyle Walker one a second ago as well. But like I think we're in a tough position in officiating at the moment because we're kind of stepping on either side of the line, and we want to kind of be on the line, right? And what I mean by that is we need to start, in my view, implementing offensive fouling. So that's fouls when you have possession of the ball, because we see a lot of times that if somebody just has the ball, we call it, oh, it's fine. It's if they've moved their leg out and initiated contact, they had possession of the ball, so they can do whatever they want. It's the defender who fouled them. I don't think that's always true. There is a skill to that, but I think it is something that needs to change in football. So a tangling of legs, again, you can always take the advantage of the offensive player. But in my view, sometimes the offensive player initiates the contact to the defensive player to draw the foul. Now, that's fine. You can say there's a skill to that. But to me, that's not football. That's not the right way to go about things.
I just look at that situation, and we probably even should talk about the Kyle Walker situation. I just don't know how to feel about that. Because, first of all, the one at the back post, it was a bit of a tangle of legs. But I can understand why it wasn't given. But I can also see why people say it was given, because the fact of the matter is, I think the ball did go through, and if he wasn't impeded, technically he is going ahead. He is going ahead and scoring in that situation. So it's just a hard one to make it.
But that is to take it as given that the offensive that at that point it was the offensive player's ball. You see what I mean? Like, to me, at that moment in time, it's kind of up for grabs. It's kind of up for grabs. So to say, oh, if the defender wasn't there, then maybe there'd have been a chance on goal. Well, the defender might say to you, well, if the attacker wasn't there, I'd have been able to clear my lines, or I'd have been able to play out. So there is that kind of conversation that does need to be had. Like I say, I think basketball is the best example we can have. Talking about a charge, talking about a block, right? There are certain areas of some sports where I think football does need to get brought forward into the 21st century more. Julian Nagelsmann, James, talked about it recently. I know you're probably going to roll your eyes at this, but quarterbacks and coaches can speak to one another in their helmets, right? I think it'd be fascinating if a captain of each team had like a little earpiece in and you could get conversations out. I think that'd be fascinating, listening in to those conversations. There's all sorts of stuff like that. I think it would be really cool.
I do understand you want to evolve the game, but I just think it's the most stupidest thing you want to bring in. The fact of the matter is that footballers need independence, yeah, and they shouldn't be catered to, right? On the football pitch, it's down to you to make the decisions. If you're in front of goal right there, would you really want in the earpiece? Oh no, shoot to the left, no, shoot to the right. No, you make your decisions, yeah.
I don't think it would be on the whole time. I think you could tap and then speak when you want. You wouldn't just be going, yeah, shoot now.
You got the crowd, you got this and that. Like, it's to be, when you're in a sports situation, it should be down to you to make your decisions. Yeah, if the ball is out of play, maybe if your coach is over there, make a little decision, hey, like here, there, once a game, stop. Yes, I get it. But to do it, to have it during the game and have all this type of stuff, I don't want this American thing to come into England. Keep it the way it is. Like I would personally, as a player, I would find it corny, and even as a coach, I would find it also like
with basketball. I do think it's a good point. I'll bring up Paul Pogba as a fantastic example. Pogba has these great long legs, right, and he always has the ball, and he always sticks out the leg so he can have this huge base that he can work from with both legs, creating a huge space between the ball and the defender. He puts his body in the way and does all this kind of stuff. If Pogba ever gets any contact, it's because he's put his leg out there. He's the one actually initiating contact. Now, we applaud him because it's good use of his body position and he can draw a foul and all this stuff. And I agree with that. But in my view, I just think that the person initiating contact there is actually the attacking player. Now, it kind of blurs the lines a little bit more. But to me, if we're trying to get a more fair game, James, the Kyle Walker one, maybe we can touch on that briefly. I don't have like a massive opinion on that as to whether it was a penalty and a red card or it wasn't. I really don't, because to me, it's two guys going for the same ball. I know Danny Ings was in possession, but he was quite far away from the ball, if we're being honest, James. That's why Kyle Walker...
Adam Armstrong. It was Adam
Armstrong. Excuse me. Sorry,
I feel like that situation is quite different, Jack, because it's two things there. He's going clean through, right? He's gonna shoot. We don't know if it goes in or not. But the fact that Kyle Walker does try to win the ball back, but he is coming from behind. And technically in that situation, I know like he kind of gets the ball and looks like he falls over, but Kyle Walker technically is impeding Armstrong from getting the shot away. So to say, was it a bad mistake from the referee? I don't think so. But was it a red card? I don't think it was. Like, there's so much there. I'm not a referee. There's just so much there to look. I'm just it's
James, it's a game with so many different variables, right? There's so many different variables you can look at. Not everything is just going to be clear cut and blatant stonewall, blah blah blah. There will be ones that are going to split decision. It's part and parcel of the game. And as long as the referee can sit back and go, you know what, I'm happy with my decisions there, then we can move. It's when the ref, I think, makes the wrong decision after having access to the TV, after having access to the fourth official, VAR, etc., etc. That's when we have a problem.
I feel you. Also, Mo Salah, Jack. Sammy just said it. More goals, Jack.
Again, like that's fine. I like say you may not believe me, but I think Mo Salah is actually a good footballer. I just don't think he's a great footballer. I think he benefits a lot from the system in which he plays in. There are some players who I think can kind of just pull it out of their arse and do it themselves. I don't think Mo Salah is that guy. We've not seen the major interest in Mo Salah as a global superstar. He does not get that respect like a lot of the other guys do. There's a reason for that. It's because he benefits from playing under, for me, a top three, or at points a top one coach in the world in Jurgen Klopp. It's the system in which Klopp plays which allows him to benefit.
More games, more goals for Mo Salah. He just does what he does. I do understand what Jack means from the point of view. He doesn't dazzle me like I watch other players. Like Eden Hazard.
Look, guys. Borussia Dortmund's my prime example for this argument. Okay, and yeah, sure, that's where Klopp came from, but you can place nearly any football player in that Borussia Dortmund team setup who's worth their salt in any way, shape, or form, and they will play it incredibly well. Now, I think Erling Haaland is a kind of a different kettle of fish, but we've seen people like Michy Batshuayi look like one of the best strikers in the world when he's gone to Borussia Dortmund and play his football. Sometimes you fit in a system and you can just benefit from the way that system plays. Now, you still need skill to be a part of it, but we need to remember, everybody, this is a team sport. And a lot of the time, it's your teammates who are helping you get into the positions that do as well as you can. For me, you stick Mo Salah in a number of other different elite level football teams, and he doesn't get anywhere near the same level of output that we see him get at Liverpool.
Let's move on to my team, Arsenal, and their 1-0 victory away from home against Burnley. A tough away day for Arsenal, as always is with Burnley. But interestingly, look, we have a quite good record against Burnley. I think we've only lost once in like the last 10 Premier League games. So it's been a decent opposition for Arsenal, but another victory for us, another clean sheet. Life is good, Jack. 6 points. Life is good.
A win's a win's a win's a win's a win, right? And I think especially in the position Arsenal are in right now, I don't think you guys should be caring whether you win 6-0, 6-3 or 1-0. I think a win is a win. Clean sheet, yep, that builds confidence amongst the defense and the goalkeeper, I'm sure. Great bit of individual skill from Martin Odegaard, who I do expect to be better this year than he was last year. And next year, I believe he'll take another step. I think he'll get more and more comfortable. I think you and I spoke about this. Alone, I think it's very hard to fully commit to a team when you know you're only there for a short period of time. I think when you move your whole life there and you sign a 4 or 5 year deal, mindset is different. And I think we will see better versions of Martin Odegaard going forward. But yeah, look, no one's going to applaud Arsenal for beating a team like Burnley 1-0, but it's the right result, a clean sheet, like you said. And at this point where Arsenal are at, you need all the wins that you can get.
Good evening, Gary. I mean, let's just look at the game, and Arsenal weren't amazing. We weren't amazing, and at times, like, we weren't even in control of the game. Burnley came at us, and before when it comes to Arsenal, you had that fear factor about you, where you know that okay, we're gonna have to withstand for 70 minutes, but we might get a good 20-minute spell where like we can get onto Arsenal, and I felt like it was a 50-50 all type of game, but we just edged it. My worrying thing is that clean sheet, cool. A few things I'm going to pick out when I'm going to talk about players, but going forward, Jack, is a bit of an issue to me. The fact of we had 3 shots on target, had 13 shots overall, but it seems to be like the final ball, the final shot, these type of stuff right there is being a letdown. In like the fact that I mentioned on a number of occasions that Arsenal last season scored the least amount of goals that they've had in the Premier League since 1996 is worrying. And then we brought the same strike force, literally the same strike force we had last season that had that poor tally goals into this season, and the fact that we failed to score in our first 3 games and we're only edging teams out 1-0, 1-0, 1-0 at this moment in time is a little bit worrying for me. You know, I'll also look at someone like Ben White. It's a little bit worrying for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I get it, Ben White. Hopefully, he'll turn out to be a phenomenal player. But
at the moment, I know it really is bad. I mean, especially like, for example, like James, I'll give you some quick examples like straight away. Do I think Takahiro Tomiyasu is already a better player than Ben White? Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. I think he provides more value to your football team than Ben White does. He costs a fraction of the price.
I said it before, like, and I think I said it to you, and I think I said it to my friend. I was more excited about Tomiyasu than Ben White because I just feel like his upside to him is really interesting. I feel like what he can bring is like Aspilicueta vibe to Arsenal.
Right, that's not a bad comparison. Yeah. I mean, he's a little bigger, I think, but I think, yeah, generally speaking, can play anywhere, is going to work hard, comfortable enough on the ball. Like, yeah, I agree. Again, you pay for what you think Ben White will be. And projections are difficult. It's hard to pay a lot of money for a projection. Very, very rarely do you pay money and know what you're getting. Romelu Lukaku, as a comparison, is my perfect example of a player where you know at this point in his career, you know exactly what you're getting. I still maintain that Lukaku deal that Chelsea made over the summer, that's one of the safest deals in Premier League history. You know what you're going to get from that man. There's no, is he going to do well in the formation? Or, is he going to be this or that? It's Romelu Lukaku just coming off the 2 best years of his career. Yes, he's going to be that guy.
Just a quick thing, Sammy, on the midfield 3, again, Partey makes us so much better. Smith Rowe and Odegaard, I don't mind because I actually mentioned that being like a midfield trio that I would like to see. I feel like what Arteta's trying to do with that is do the Pep style where like he had, I think it was Fernandinho sitting with Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva there. Again, Is it up to that standard? No, but I do think that for the next upcoming years for Arsenal, that as a midfield 3 is definitely possible. The only thing is just the defensive transition. That's going to be a serious problem. But Jack, we have a little quick question from Gary right here.
Would you consider doing a mini quiz during your streams? You could ask a question near the start of the stream, give people half an hour or so to guess correctly. Yeah, we could do kind of a quiz. We could do a quiz night. I think what we'll probably do, Gary, is once we can get to a point where we can do, super chats and that kind of thing, James and I will be able to start investing in the stream a little bit more. And what we can do is maybe have like a little leaderboard on the side where people can enter and we can kind of do that. But right now it's very basic with all the stuff that we got going on right now. So we're going to try and get to a point where we can make some income, and then we'll go from there, I think.
Oh, Gary, a quiz would be very, very interesting, and I would definitely. Jack, to be fair, has some tough, quiz.
I'll finish bottom. James will finish top, and you guys will finish in between.
But I think that's something that we'll definitely consider. To be fair, a good old box-to-box football quiz, Jack. You might see a show like that, guys. Don't be surprised if you can see a little box-to-box football quiz coming up. Ooh, we might have that going, but let's move on.
I think we do need to set up some sort of Reddit or Discord or something, just so that we can get people chatting about stuff and but being able to speak with everybody. That's probably a good idea at some point.
Definitely. We'll get all that stuff going. But that is a great shout, Jack. And secondly, I know Tottenham fans ain't really in there as much, but we win next week and got 11 points beat you guys. But let me not talk right now, Jack. Let's just move. We'll get to Tottenham soon. Let's talk about Manchester United. Let's talk about West Ham. I was actually at Stratford yesterday.
Oh,
So
wow.
I kind of like, so I was there during the Man United game. Unfortunately, I didn't know the game was going on till I got onto the train and realized, oh, Man United playing now West Ham. I'm on like I'm on my way there. So I didn't get to see that, but I seen a lot of the football fans there. But what an incredible game, Jack. Man United somehow with this streak that I don't know when it's gonna end. They're moving like Undertaker, at WrestleMania, but there will be a Brock Lesnar soon. But Man United a 2-1 victory against West Ham. They leave it late again, and Jesse Lingard going from a villain one week to a hero the other. And I just want to give him, before we even get started, is to give him so much praise, because it's quite easy after him making that error against young boys to like have his head down, and he probably just completely lost it. Because think about where Jesse Lingard was last season too, Jack, where before he made the West Ham move, he was struggling. He was thinking, where's he going to be in his football career? He showed amazing mental strength to come back from that and have this amazing season with West Ham, and even kind of creeped into the England team coming into Euros and was unfortunate to miss out. But for him to show the strength he showed to make that mistake, but not drop his head and tell Ollie, I'm ready to go again, and come on and make that sort of impact. Not just score a goal, but score a goal of that quality when his team needed it the most.
Right.
Rather how you feel about Jesse Lingard, all the dancing stuff. This guy's
squared up with the man of the match, by the way, James. By all accounts, in my opinion, Kurt Zouma. I thought Kurt Zouma played out of his skin. So to have Jesse Lingard face to face with Kurt Zouma and to pull off that was impressive. And yeah, look, season defining. I tweeted this soon after it happened. I think that if it's my pick, and it's still my pick. If Manchester United do end this Premier League season as champions, we're going to look at the away game to West Ham, and we're going to remember the fact that the game could have been a draw. The 3 Ronaldo quote unquote missed penalty opportunities that weren't given, right? And then the De Gea, the De Gea save. It's a season defining moment for a goalkeeper who doesn't really save penalties. So
I think in the last 21 penalties, he hasn't saved none of them.
Right.
The fact that he comes up big at that time is it's huge. It's huge for Manchester United.
Yeah, look, the 3 penalty appeals, I thought one of them was absolutely stonewall. I could not believe it wasn't given. I really couldn't. The other 2, I think it was debatable. But again, it sets as a precedent. And obviously the precedent prior to that as well is what people will lean on as a comparison. So maybe there should have been some penalty shouts in there for Manchester United as well. But yeah, James, I give Jesse Lingard a hell of a lot of credit. Anybody who thinks that Jesse Lingard wants to be at Manchester United this year is absolutely crazy. Jesse Lingard wanted to go to West Ham, hands down. He knew what the type of caliber of player that was going to be coming into the football club, and he knew that there was probably going to be no space for him. Jesse Lingard probably wanted the move. West Ham wanted the move, but I assume the money wasn't right for Manchester United to accept a deal. So for him, like you said, James, get his head down, work his way back into the team. James, I'll ask you a quick question now. Who are you starting at the moment? Jesse Lingard or Jadon Sancho? I know who I'm picking.
I mean, like, Jadon Sancho gets a lot of bite at this moment in time. And yes, he's having some poor from me. I would go for Jesse Lingard, but that's
not a diss. It's not a diss to Jadon Sancho. I'm just using it as an example to give Jesse Lingard credit. Ronaldo got his customary goal. Sure, Jesse Lingard's scored a bit of a worldie, and yeah, okay, the West Ham goal was somewhat lucky as well. But again, a performance where Man United maybe didn't even necessarily deserve to win the game, but they did. And again, to me, it is form of champions. And when you've got that, when you've got number 7 up top there, I'm just saying he's probably going to get you a goal a game. That's the way it looks right now.
For anyone who just doubted Ronaldo, thought, it's the Premier League, it's too strong, it's too physical, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Stop doubting the guy. He's going to find a way every single time, and he is finding a way. He's played in 3 Manchester United games. He scored in all 3 of them. He has 4 goals. This Premier League is meant to be this also mighty, big, strong defenders. I'm sorry. He's dealt with that and more throughout his career, and I find it pathetic.
And James, he could have, if the penalties went in, he could have gotten more, right? That's the kind of person we're dealing with. But to your point,
we would have had Ronaldo just trending all over the place,
Right. To your point, though, before about the away form thing, yeah, James, listen. If Man United, I honestly do believe that they are going to be somewhat undefeated this year in some way, shape or form. There'll be some statistic where they go undefeated. I don't know whether it's going to be at Old Trafford or whether it'll be away from home. I really don't know. But to me, if you're going to average like 1.8 2 point something points away from home, and then you're going to average 2.5, 2.2, whatever points at home. That's a formula for champions. And that's what I do believe that they'll start doing. If they start losing the odd away game, then I'll start to be like, okay, right, something's happened here. But if you can go into every away game with at least a point in the bag, and then at Old Trafford with the fans back, Cristiano Ronaldo, you can go in with, Man United. I don't think it matters who the opposition is. I think you'd look at any game at Old Trafford in the league as them as favourites. So, yeah, still my favourites. It's not been as convincing as a team we'll get on to, but I think that they will only get better.
I think the Ollie thing is something that's just going to loom on Man United's head throughout this whole season. Once they get a bad result, just like the way it gets Young Boy, which wasn't great, the fact that they kind of petered out in the second half, it's rather Man United going to have to make a decision. Is that you're going to stick with Ollie throughout this whole season, make it clear he's going to be our man. Because once they lose, once they drop points here or there, it's going to point the finger. It's him. They got the squad, and it might be something Man United need to consider. Rather, make it clear he's going to stay, or do what they have to do here. But
I think James, we're getting to a point though where I think only one head needs to roll here. I think you need to keep the coaching set up in the way that it is. I think you need, Darren Fletcher as technical director.
We'll get on to Spurs in a minute. Just relax. We'll get on to Spurs in a minute. Right there.
Michael Carrick's in there. Mike Phelan's in there. Kieran McKenna. All those kind of guys who I think that culture has now been rebuilt. And also there's the culture within the dressing room now too. That I think that if you do get somebody with a bit more leadership, a bit more tactical nous in there, I think that is probably going to be the next stage for them. I hate to say that, and I commend Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on his man management ability and his relationships with the players in the dressing room. That man is not a killer. That's not a guy who's gonna make a decision to win you a final. So.
We have to talk about Spurs, guys. So I'm not missing this opportunity. But Gary just put out there Jack Ronaldo 20+ goals this season.
I think
is it a lock right now?
Easy. I mean, James and I, his over/under was 21.5, wasn't it, James? And I think you and I both went over. I think I said around 25+. I think James might have even said 27-ish. And at this point, I'm not putting it past him. The guy. Guys, I think a goal a game is probably the average he's going to hit right now. You consider him maybe not scoring against a good defensive team, and then obviously against a weaker defensive team, he's going to score 2 or 3. And remember, penalties as well are going to be thrown in there, and Manchester United love winning penalties.
Jack, I don't quite. Jack, when you think of who is the man, when you think of big games, who's the biggest big game player you ever met? You've ever seen play football?
I think you've got to say it's Ronaldo, or like Zlatan comes to mind too. I'm not gonna lie, I do.
Drug over Zlatan, big game player. Zlatan, I don't look at Zlatan ever being he's a big game player, but not like when I think of them like
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo. I think he will be the difference. Could be the difference between them winning certain games away from home. I'm talking against your Liverpools, against your Man Cities.
And James, one thing, there was a real soft spot for me just because it really rolled the years back when Ronaldo got that goal against West Ham. The shush, and then one of these. Just
we haven't seen one of them in a long time.
Dude, neither have I. I'm here. It's fine. Shh. Everything's gonna be okay.
He's spitting some different stuff right now. Zlatan is a small Sabi. Okay, I would say he's a small game player, but Zlatan has scored some big goals before. Scored 2 against Arsenal in the quarterfinal. Surely he's had some winners.
There are cup final goals there. There's important league goals there. The game Ronaldo versus Zlatan, it was the 3-2. Remember, with Portugal, that was a huge game too.
Ronaldo outdone him that day. 3.
Oh, for sure.
That was arguably one of the greatest football players I've ever seen.
Portugal, Sweden, though.
But even then, Jack, it was Ronaldo. That was something special. But it's main event time, guys.
Just quickly, James. Can you get to Gary's comments and then some of the Roma ones, because I just want to get these in.
Cool. Let's first get into the Gary one right there.
So we'll get to Spurs. Now, here's my opinion quickly on the Conference League. Does everybody know what the kind of big achievement is if you win the Conference League? It's qualification for the Europa League, not for the Champions League, for the Europa League. Now, no disrespect to the Europa League as a competition, But Roma, Spurs, these caliber of teams are not looking at, oh boy, we could qualify for the Europa League. They don't care about that. They're trying to get in to the Champions League. That's going to be the goal. Roma will have a top 4 finish in their sights this year. Winning the Conference League is not going to be a priority. There was a heavily rotated squad in our first game last week for that, and I would say that it's probably going to be the same with Spurs. Their energy is somewhat wasted in the Conference League if the big payoff is qualifying for the Europa League. I mean, come on, it's not a good enough reward, in my opinion.
If Tottenham can't win the this Europa Conference League thing, they should just give up in general. Like, come on, like we've given you the best opportunity possibly you can to get into another one from Gary here.
It's written in the stars. They get knocked out by Jose's Roma in the final. Hey, look, I'm sure that if Jose gets to a final, we'll play the starting team. But I would say up until probably just like quarterfinals and back, I think it's going to be heavily rotated squads for Roma and for Spurs in that competition.
Come on, I'll give it to you. I remember watching that game. Amazing game from Southampton.
Won the Puskas, I think.
It did win. It did win the Puskas award, but it was a friendly, so that's why I wouldn't consider that like a big, game type of thing.
Sammy's such a savage when he gets an idea in his head.
Listen,
look at his Champions League knockout stats.
Listen, guys. Let's just get through the Tottenham Chelsea game, and then if you guys have all your comments, just layer it down. But if you have any comments on the Tottenham Chelsea game, I know Tottenham fans are here, even Chelsea fans, if you're here, please comment down below. But let's get into it. Tottenham versus Chelsea. Damn, man, Tottenham, everything was looking good, and now it just looks a bit. But we love to see it. Chelsea winning 3-0 away from home against Tottenham. All the goals coming in the second half, and Jack. Like I know I got my opinions on it. How did you find the whole thing?
Disappointing collapse. Really disappointing. I think at 45 minutes you go, okay, like, all right, Spurs, like if you can get a draw out of this, I think it's well played. If you can snag a goal, like well played. It's a big emotional game. We know what it's about. So I think that at halftime you were probably feeling quite positive if you're a Spurs fan, even though I'd say you were probably leaning towards Chelsea still scoring and stuff. I would still say that you thought, oh, we're in with a shot here. Thiago Silva rolled back the years. Thiago Silva is still such a baller. I just like all of his comments recently, about him feeling hard done by with, getting a certain deal or not offered a deal when he's the age that Ramos is now, and seeing what Ramos is doing for PSG. Like, I think, Thiago Silva has a little bit
because he doesn't play.
Yeah, but with Thiago Silva as well, it's not just defending. Right, his range of passing is fantastic. His leadership ability, like the guy's a complete. It's one of the best of his generation in the centre back position. I don't think we can deny that. And yeah, apart from that, we see strength and depth across the Chelsea squad. And also, this to me I think this is probably one of the best results Chelsea would hope for, because Lukaku didn't score. And you might think to yourself, well, hang on a minute, we want our big expensive player not to score. I don't think you always do. I think you want that reassurance that if your guy doesn't score, and he didn't play badly, by the way. Lukaku had a decent enough game. He was good, but it's nice to look at a score sheet, especially with 3 goals on it away from home, and not see your big money guy. There are going to be goals elsewhere in the team, and that's going to be huge for Chelsea this year. And look, Spurs fans, sorry about this, but are Chelsea like a 3-0, 2-0 scoreline better than you? Yeah, they probably are right now. So to me, especially Spurs being at home, maybe it looks a bit bad, but Chelsea are the better football team and they won the game.
Okay, Jack, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Chelsea are the better football team, but let's kind of look and break through the game. So to be fair to Nuno, they changed the approach completely. Them first 20 minutes. Tottenham, fair play to them, they came at Chelsea.
Right.
The crowd was going, and the biggest thing for me was that not only were they coming at Chelsea, but they were winning every 50-50 ball. And I'm thinking here, ooh, this could be like this could be a problem. But then you look at the stats and you looked at the game and be like, okay, for all this high tempo, for all them 50-50s won, how many chances are being created? Because it just seems, when a little speculative effort happens, you just little pause. Chelsea goal kick, and then you kind of go from there. Just kept on going and going and going. Fair play to Chelsea, because in that 20-minute spell where Tottenham are on top and the crowd is going crazy, a lot of teams crumble. Chelsea didn't crumble. They stayed in the game, stood up to Tottenham for the fact that the 20 minutes were just they were getting destroyed. Kind of withstand that pressure, and then the next 25 minutes grew into the game and had one or two chances to try and take the lead. If it wasn't for Paul balls by a Kai Havertz or a Mason Mount here or there, probably could have took the lead. But then after that, in that second half, for all that high tempo for Tottenham, I just felt that they didn't turn up in that second half. Not only the players, but even the fans. Like, it feels like it was just sucked out of them completely. Once the goal went in, you just never felt that they were going to find another goal. They were going to find another chance or anything like that. In 3-0, yes, says, oh, good for Chelsea, but Chelsea could have even rubbed it in a bit more, because I felt like with chances from Kovacic, in the Timo Werner when he came on. Timo Werner, like, listen, goodness gracious.
I love a trier though, James. It's great.
Jack is not even trying at this, right? Did you see the one where Lukaku played him in, and his touch, instead of it being in front of him,
on the left side,
he rolls under his leg. It's like Timo Werner. Like, I like him, but he doesn't help himself. But
yeah,
Chelsea really, really could have hurt Tottenham to the point of view. It says 3, it could have been 4, 5, or maybe 6, and that's fair play to this Chelsea team at this moment in time, because I look at them and the first thing just popped to mind, and I tweeted out, they look like Premier League champions.
Right? Yeah.
Now, the Anfield game made me a bit worried, because I felt and I seen an old 2005, 2006 Mourinho type Chelsea,
right,
game, where you watch them and you find they're going to be difficult to beat today.
Right.
Where's the weakness? Where can we get at this Chelsea team? And this is what I'm feeling right now. Defensively, assured, Rudiger is one of the best defenders in the world right now. That their midfielder, the fact that they got Jorginho right now playing to a high level, they got Kovacic, arguably the best midfielder in the Premier League this season from his levels, and the fact that they can bring on N'Golo Kante off the bench, it shows you the embarrassment of riches. You talk about bringing on Timo Werner, taking off Mason Mount, having Hakan Ziyech there. Chelsea just have an abundance of riches right now, and it's going to be hard to stop them this season. But then I look at the flip side for Tottenham right now, and I get it wasn't good. But the thing that worries me the most is Harry Kane. Let's not lie. 5 games.
Well, James, you have to.
We didn't start the season. Go on, Jack.
Well, just like I like to look at decisions, right, from a what you can expect from taking one part of the decision and what you can expect from taking the other part of the decision, right? So let's just play this out here real quick. Spurs keeping Kane. What's their best finish, do you reckon? 6th or 7th, right? Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, maybe 5th.
Maybe 5th. But again, if we're talking about 5th, like, unless a team wins in the Champions League and we sneak in like another team there, chances are Spurs are going to be playing Europa League football next year, right? They're in a competition which they should really have a good chance of winning to get in that competition anyway. So the ceiling for Spurs with Harry Kane would have been probably a Europa League type of finish season. Sell Harry Kane for loads and loads of money and maybe a player in return, reinvest in the squad, see where you're going. What do we think the ceiling is for them? I would still say in and around like 6th or 7th, maybe, even without Kane, seriously, because of the reinvestment and what you could do with it. So to me, you do just look at it, especially now with the way he's playing, because he had a summer where he lost in a final of a European competition, right? A major international European competition. He had this huge... He had this huge interview with Gary Neville where spilt the beans on everything that he wanted to happen, made it pretty clear like that he didn't want to be there anymore. And now he's just been thrown back in with a new manager, new approach, new bunch of signings, this, and this. A couple of like old legends have kind of left the club, likes of, an Alderweireld's gone now and all this kind of like carry on. And it's just like, well, why are we keeping Kane again? Like, what was the bright idea for not accepting 120, 130, 140 million for this guy? It doesn't make any sense. City, the difference between City finishing above them or below them was not them getting Harry Kane. With or without Harry Kane, City are going to finish above Tottenham. So let's be clear, like, you're not benefiting somebody who, they might now overtake you. They were going to beat you with or without him. So it just seems strange, the decision again.
I feel like this whole Harry Kane thing, it's obviously a weird one, but it also feels a little bit uncomfortable because I'm not saying like I'm this massive body reader and like you know exactly what's going on, but you can. I think people watch Harry Kane and you can just tell that he's gonna try his best for Tottenham.
He wears his heart on
Is
his
his
sleeve.
heart really, really in here? Like, does he believe that Tottenham are where he wants to be? No. And at times yesterday, not only Tottenham were going through the motions, he was going through the motions. Because times that he was there in the game, and other times you look around and be like, where is Harry Kane? Do I feel sorry for him? A little bit, because the fact of the matter is, no matter what anyone says, he didn't want to be at Tottenham. I think he made it clear that he didn't want to be there. And the fact that he's kind of playing there by his own, like he's kind of, they're kind of forcing him to play in a way. It's a bit of a tough one, but for Tottenham fans, let me just break this down right now. Harry Kane hasn't scored throughout this whole season when it comes to the Premier League games he's played and also the Europa Conference League games he's played. Hasn't scored yet. Arsenal, you guys play Arsenal next week. You know what happens from there. If he's gonna break a duck, if he's gonna score a goal, it's gonna be against Arsenal. I might even call it right now. It's gonna be a penalty. It'll be a foul on Human Son. Harry Kane tucks in the penalty
by Xhaka.
You know, Xhaka, Ben White, any like any one of them. But with this Harry Kane issue, it's a tough one. Let's just see how it pans out for the rest of the season.
The thing is, James, very rarely do transfers come up that are good for all three parties. All three, right? The Jesse Lingard one is the main one that comes to mind. Good for West Ham, good for Lingard, good for Man United, right?
Wait, did Harry Kane score in the Conference League? I'm just carry on, Jack.
The Kane one as well. Some people might disagree here. I think getting a ton of money from City is good for Tottenham. Seriously, I know not having Harry Kane sucks, but like I said, I don't think that the drop-off from where Spurs will probably finish is going to be that much different with and without Kane in the team, especially with the way he's playing right now and the fact his head's turned. If this was prime firing, top goal scorer, top assist maker Harry Kane... Sorry,
1 second, Jack. You're right, George. He scored twice. So in the first game, I mean in the second game. So I put my hand up there. My bad. But it's all right.
If this was top goal scorer, top assist getter Harry Kane, you'd go, okay, might be worth keeping him. But with his mental state and where he's at right now, is that somebody you want to keep around? I'd sooner have, I think, 130 mil and Emerick Laporte personally. You know, I'd sooner have 140 mil and Raheem Sterling, personally. The point being, it's weird that in a situation where it would be good for City because they have the money and they have the desperate need in the position, it would be good for Spurs because of the money and, you know, getting rid of a player that they know they don't want to be there, getting good money for him, and it's what Kane wants. It just surprises me more and more, the fact that it didn't happen, especially with the situation that we're in right now. I just put in the chat, I'm interested to hear what everybody else thinks. I've put it in the comments. I don't know if anybody's responded yet. Guys, if you're Harry Kane, if it keeps going the way it's going, do you go, I'd like to go in January? And is that what kickstarts a title run for City?
Did you know what, Jack? Before you even tweeted that was in my head. Could January be a thing where it could make sense in that situation where he could go, Tottenham gain a lot of money? Because, Jack, I believe that you get to the summer, Tottenham lose out on money when it comes to Harry Kane because that price that they put up there, to me, it drops.
Oh, you know? For sure.
Because that's another year I'm added on to him, you know, age-wise to the fact that when you look at the striker pool, Erling Haaland is available and Harry Kane isn't the most wanted striker there. It makes it feel like, oof, they might have messed up to the point of view of pricing. But as they say, Daniel Levy, he gets what he wants. He does what he wants. Let's just get into a few comments here from George, like previous comments here.
We just ran out of steam. There's no way we could have kept up. Nuno hasn't been given much time to train the team. Squad depth to freshen things up was another issue. Yeah, I mean, again,
but to be fair, like Tottenham have had probably the best preseason to the point of view that you played Chelsea in preseason, you played Arsenal in preseason, you played a number of teams in preseason. Yes, the only one that didn't really have that great of a summer was Harry Kane, but everyone else in the team played a substantial amount of games. And against most teams coming to the end, you guys like went from strength to strength in them games there. But again, Nuno does need more time. I do agree there.
Yeah, and again, you pay the price at some point for not doing business. I mean, we've had multiple summers there with Spurs, or sorry, multiple windows there with Spurs where they've not done anything. And at the time, you could probably look at the state of your squad and go, oh, well, based on the age and based on this and based on that, it's like, well, yeah, but it just messes up the whole general cohesion within the team and players becoming leaders. You can't just throw a bunch of people in when you go, oh, now the squad needs to turn around and expect results. I like some of the acquisitions, but again, are these the types of acquisitions that are then going to develop to get to the point? Maybe some of them, but a lot of them are just players who are just going to replace what's already there. So the level will remain the same.
Just a quick one, guys. We're done at this moment in time, but if you have any questions to ask overall in terms of Premier League football, if it's Bundesliga, La Liga football, Shami, whatever type of questions you want to ask right now, I'm going to give a little 10 to 15 minute chance for you guys. Comment down below, guys, whatever you want to ask regarding any type of football, Tottenham, Chelsea, whatever, Real Madrid, just comment down below and let us know.
Quickly, I just want to throw this in there. I think somebody made a comment about Juve. The only reason Roma lost to Hellas Verona is because now Juve are in the relegation zone. So that's why we did it. Big brain from Mourinho. Big brain.
Very, 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 very smart there. But just a quick one on Chelsea, Jack.
Oh yeah.
Man City are a team everyone looks at as being like the team to stop. But when you look at this Chelsea team, it's like, surely that they're the team to stop this season when you think about it.
Look, I think the only difference this year, actually, with the Premier League title race, incredibly, is actually going to be just concentration. Seriously, I think complacency or lack thereof is going to be the difference in who wins the title this year. Because again, we can really nitpick and split hairs on certain positions on each of the teams and go, you know what? I think this team are weak here, and here's why, and here's what I would do to try and play around them and tactically beat them. But if we're being honest, James, the starting 11 and also most of the substitutes on, all four of those major teams, you are going to look at and go, oof, okay, we got ourselves something going here. The only thing stopping Chelsea this year is Chelsea. The only thing stopping Man United this year is Man United. Same for City, same for Liverpool. I do believe that. Now, again, we're going to talk about management and we're going to talk about motivation and we're going to talk about injuries and we're going to talk about all the other things that will impact a title race. But yeah, Chelsea look fantastic. They have the depth. They have all this stuff. But we know from Chelsea, sporadically, I don't think it's going to happen very much this year, but sporadically there will be the odd game where, they're 1-0 down to some team and you go, okay. And then maybe they're 2-0 down and then maybe it's 2-1 and they lose and 2-1 and everyone kind of looks around and goes, how did that happen? It's just a complacency, lack of concentration. And it will be the same for the other three teams. I'm not trying to single out Chelsea. For me, I just look at, Ronaldo as that big factor and the away form factor for Manchester United. They're the reason they're my pick. But like we've said a million times, and I really do feel strongly about this, and I know you agree, James, those four teams, I'm not mad at anybody putting those four teams in any order. If you want to tell me Liverpool win the league, City second, United third, Chelsea fourth, I'd go, okay. It's when any of those four teams finish outside the top four, that's when I'm going to raise some questions.
Let's just power through a few comments, Jack. Let's just go into Cormac question quickly.
Yeah, we know Kane is world class, but I don't want anyone at Spurs that doesn't want to play for the badge. Look, I know it's a cliche, but I agree with you 100%. I'm sure James does too. Always brings the whole team down, and the payoff is never worth it. Yeah, look, you're absolutely spot on. I don't really know what else to say from that. It does not make any sense.
The worst part about it, in like Cormac mentioned, and I don't think Harry Kane doesn't want to play for Tottenham, to the point of view of he respects Tottenham. Does he really actually he wants to be somewhere else? But I don't think it's a thing where it's a hatred for Tottenham and he's coming in, he's sulking, his this and that. But you can just feel that deep down he doesn't want to be there. And if you don't want to be there, and especially with the type of talent Harry Kane is, when you have a player of that talent, he doesn't really in his heart of hearts doesn't want to be there. It's a thing where you have to get rid of. You have to find a way to navigate out of that, because that can really, really, really bring a team down. But again, we weren't saying this 2 game days before when Tottenham won their third straight game in a row. So let you see what it's like in the North London derby. You know, I can't wait for that. To be fair, we have another one from Cormac here. What was I saying? Arsenal probably more likely to lose that game. But
ideally, sell Kane in January, buy Martinez, creative mid, and a ready-made winner. I imagine that's winger, but maybe it is winner. I'm not sure. Look, sell Kane in January. Yeah, of course. I mean, you should have sold him in the summer, but I think January is your next best bet. So fair enough, and best of luck. Look, from what we've all been told or been led to believe, Lautaro Martinez is supposedly going to sign a new deal, and I need you to be aware of obviously what the striker room is going to look like at Inter Milan if they do decide to sell Lautaro Martinez. I'm not ruling out a sale. I'm just telling you that they will probably have going to need or want a replacement in before Martinez is then let go. Edin Dzeko scored I think 2 or 3 goals the other day and got an assist. So he's still good, but we have to remember his age. We have to remember where he's at. If they get somebody like a Andrea Bellotti who might be available, if they spend big on a Dusan Vlahovic and then let Lautaro Martinez go, understandable. I would get that, but I think that you're kind of you're living optimistically there, mate. I don't foresee that happening.
Jack, this is for you right now.
Let's talk Serie A. Yeah, look. Things are interesting, and again, I hate the idea that it's the fact that the big guys have fallen down a little bit, which has made it more competitive. Because what you want is the smaller guys to get bigger as opposed to the bigger guys to get smaller. But yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo leaves your football club. I think we know that there's going to be a ripple effect, and yeah, I'm looking at Juventus in 18th right now. No wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. It's not pretty. Wedged nicely between Venezia and Cagliari. So fantastic stuff. Looking at Serie A right now. Top 4 looks kind of interesting.
Gerard Piqué is playing as a striker. Yeah, he's apparently Barcelona are doing a bit of Luke de Jong and Piqué up front. This is Barcelona tiki-taka, core philosophy, and then they're going to go one out and out number 9 who's not that mobile, and then you're going to bring up Gerard Piqué to launch the ball, and wow, how times have changed.
Napoli look good. I don't know what to say. I think they're playing right now, or maybe it's
COVID didn't hit you too bad, Andre. Appreciate that. Again, if you have any comments, just comment.
Oh, good man. I'm glad to hear that you're back from COVID, Adrian. Well done, mate. Yeah, James, Napoli don't look bad. I'm not going to deny it. So their game just finished this evening, 4-0 against Udinese. Udinese aren't a bad team by any stretch. And Luciano Spalletti, again, we know what you're going to get from Spalletti. He's been around the block. He's been a manager at a number of different Italian teams. He knows the league. He gets it. So, yeah, Napoli are dangerous, but Napoli are dangerous all the time.
So, that is the most classic English term right now.
Yeah.
Get it in the mix.
In the mixer. Chris Wood's in there. Get it in the mixer.
Oh, love that. Listen, Barcelona's probably turned into that right now. Guys, I'm just going to give you 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes. Any comments, guys, about any type of football topic right now? Comment down below, guys. Let us know. If you even have a quiz question to ask us, Gary, we'll
definitely look. Inter, the drop-off's not been as bad. Milan, still looking okay. Drop-off's not been as bad yet. Roma, okay. Everybody overhyped them early, and then they lose 3-2 to Hellas Verona. We probably need to have a conversation at some point about Lorenzo Pellegrini, James, who, for my money, is just he's breaking into that top 10 centre mids. And I'm not trying to be biased here. I'm just saying, the guy is very impressive. Did you see the goal he scored the other day?
Oh, Jack, it was a cool goal. But bear in mind, I've been watching to say that
not
he's
the flick,
top 10 player.
Not the flick, the other one. It was the one for the Conference League. He's outside the box and he just kind of chips the goalkeeper into the top corner. It was so nice. Pellegrini's playing different.
Did you say top 10 in the world, Jack?
Yeah, in central midfield. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Seriously, I've waited a long time to say that. He's playing that kind of football right now. Seriously.
Again, I don't know how well he's playing. I didn't watch him, but think about what you got Champions League football. You got a lot of top quality midfielders there.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, James, the only reason he missed out on winning a Euros is because of an injury. He potentially would have started for Italy if he wasn't injured. Yeah, Sammy. Yes, you should be our producer.
You know what, Sammy? We're actually gonna do a video on that. A little 10-minute video.
Oh, right.
on that. So I think just stay tuned. You know, it's gonna be a 10-minute video. Man, Sammy's just giving us some commentary on some Luke de Jong stuff right now. How am I missing out on this game? Barcelona are 1-0 down against Getafe at this moment of time.
Bro, it's just like some of these giants are just falling. And yeah, that PSG game was kind of sad too. Like, yeah, you know, we haven't. You know, I know we're going to get into it in a minute here. James and I'll probably post a video about it. But guys, look, it's not going the way everyone thinks it should have been going so far.
But Pessi's trending, you know, it's a serious thing.
Dude, Pessi and Ronaldo is the most disrespectful. I like it as a meme. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it does make me laugh, but it, like, for God's sake, it's so disrespectful.
Jack, you know, I said, like, you know, when the people lose, it's funny, but I think Messi might be the worst player I've ever seen when he loses. Because Jack, some of the memes kill me. Some of the stuff that they do for Messi, it's just too funny.
Well, that's the problem.
If I go through my group chat and just send you the videos, like the fact people are comparing him to Michael Jordan at the Wizards, it's just like,
oh no,
it's getting too funny. Yeah, Barcelona is just.
But James, I think people love it when the greats fall, right? We love as humanity, we love building up an underdog, building them up, but we can't let them get too big or too successful. We got to drag them back down again. And that's the way it always goes. You know, Messi was this young kid who came on as a sub in one game and just kind of tore it up for ages. And he was small and he had all this talent. But, you know, you do get to a certain point of fame and glory and all this kind of stuff. It's the same with Ronaldo. You know, you build a guy up, you're like, oh, cool. And then eventually you make everybody a villain and you start to try and pull them down. So I hope to not be that guy, but that's the way it goes.
There's a classic line: you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
It's true.
And, I must say Messi's going to do that. We're going to get into the video of it. Probably do it right now. So, guys, just stay tuned for that Messi video. It is coming. But, guys, we're going to end the live right now. Again, if you have any other things that like you want to ask us, again, all our social media stuff is down there. Send us a comment or like where we got the Box to Box Football Instagram and Twitter. You got our personal ones too, Instagram and Twitter. Just send us something, a video that like you want to see us do, or even the questions that like you want us to ask. Comment, guys, message us, and then we'll definitely answer to you. Appreciate everyone for coming out today. Appreciate for people getting back to us. Andre Silva,
also
how you're back from COVID.
Very, very quickly as well. Obviously, we've got 2 videos that have kind of come out recently. James and I did our all-time wingers kind of debate video where we do the draft, taking the best wingers. So we posted that about 3 days ago. Check that out. That, I think, for me and James as well, that's one of the best conversations we've had about wingers and kind of all-time greats in that position. And then also posted a very quick video, but I think it's about 4 or 5 minutes, about if Manchester United fans should start getting worried about Jadon Sancho and his form. But apart from that, James, back to you.
Yeah, guys, go check out all our videos there. If you just see it, just pop a little like there, because it really helps with the algorithm. Because the way YouTube do it nowadays is like, before it was a lot easier for your video to go like viral and have more viewers there. If it doesn't reach a certain type of demographic at a certain time, they just put it down there. So even if you see it, just put a little like on there, something like that. It really, really makes a big difference here. Gary, I will see you on Sunday. May the best team win. Come on, Arsenal.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one.